tell a lot of stories from the Great White North, from way up high, but I haven't heard a whole lot from Finland. And so I was really interested to hear that a lot of the really old gods were super powerful. And Louhi was one of the goddesses. She was one of the women who was really, really powerful. Now, she was sometimes called the Witch of North Farm. She was sometimes called the Witch of Death. She was sometimes not mentioned at all, because why would you want to bring Louhi in? But she had been keeping pretty much to herself up in the North Farm. And the heroes and the gods and goddesses were getting together, the ether maidens, and they were gathering together in celebration. And Louhi, up in her farm in the north, she was bored. Now, it's not a good idea to have a bored witch of death on your hands. It's not a good idea to have someone that powerful striding around bored. She was looking for something, anything to do. And when she came upon all of these other heroes and gods and goddesses celebrating, and the one in particular with the beautiful voice was singing, "Where do you go, restless wind?" Restless wind? I could listen to this for a while. Do you search for your home, restless wind? Oh, she really liked that. It was so beautiful. And then she noticed her daughters, the sun and the moon, also were listening to this hero as he was singing and playing, and they came right down out of their stations in the sky because they were so transfixed. Well, that was it for Louhi. That was too great a temptation. She got out a great big bag, she threw it over both the sun and the moon, and she hightailed it right back up to her mountain, to the North Farm. She threw the girls into the basement, and she locked it up, and the world was plunged in darkness. Well, that'll teach them to have a good time, thought Louhi. Can't wait to see what happens next. Well, that same hero, the one who was singing, he got a hold of the smith. And he said to the smith, "Oh, man, we need to make a new sun." So they created a cradle that could hold the fire. And they started to feed and take care of this fire baby, this fire child. They got the ether maidens involved. They all were taking care of this fire child and fed the fire child. And it got bigger and stronger and bigger and stronger, and it burst right out of its cradle and went immediately into the nearest lake. And the fish, well, they all gathered a council together because it's getting really hot in there. And they, what are we going to do with this fire child in our lake? And so the biggest of the fish, they said, we'll have to figure out how to swallow that fire child. And a salmon swallowed first, but instantly grilled salmon. And so there was a whitling who was big, and a sturgeon, and they came each one bigger than the next. And when at last the biggest fish in the lake swallowed whole and was able to put out the fire. But the world was still in darkness. And so the hero said to the smith, "If Louhi has the girls, has the sun and the moon locked up in her mountain, you can make a key and we can get them out." And so the smith said, "Well, I can, but it'll take a lot of gold to melt down, and magic and sacrifice, and then it takes a really long time." And so the heroes gathered together, and they found the gold, and they sacrificed, and they were in the middle of taking a very long time when Louhi got tired of hearing the girls complain, and she thought the best thing I can do right now is to let them out while they're in the middle of forging that key. That'll show them. And she did. And the sun went back to her station, and the moon went back to her station, and all was right with the world. But they say in Finland that this time of year, they're reminded that Louhi can do whatever she wants. So you better be careful.